Okay, good morning, Rebbetzin Silber. I hope that you're well in your shalom. Firstly, thank you. And I have been amiss. I realized I thought I'd sent a message on Sunday night, but we will have you again as a replay. But as Hashem, we're doing this morning's share, the Ilun Nishmas, Marcel's father, Dov ben Avram David, Bernard Schneck, and I don't know if you would like Marcel to just share one or two sentences about her father so we know who we are learning for and with. Yeah, and you're still muted. There we go. Okay, Marcel.
Am I muted now?
Ooh. Now you're unmuted.
Ooh. I'm glad you sorted that out. Okay, so my father really was somebody very, very special. All my children, we come from very humble beginnings, really very low. We're not kosher. We don't have Rabbonim in the family. But I just want to say, in the merit of my father, who smiled every time he saw someone, we've all got that. In fact, one thing we all do is when we're driving in Israel, London, or Manchester, if we let anybody go by, well, we always let someone go by, we always put the hand up and say thank you. Always smile. This was my father. He went door to door collecting when he retired, and he was very, 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 very special person, and we all loved him. And all our children at the moment are all doing the Siyum, sponsoring Masechtas, one in Jerusalem, Kollel, one in London, one this morning in Reb Shire's share. Every single one of us is perpetuating his name in the right way, giving tzedakah and learning in his zechus. And I'm an only child. I was very precious. Unfortunately, they weren't blessed with any more. And they lost children. And I said to my father, I will make you proud. I feel I have made him proud, but my children are even making him even more proud, and my grandchildren. And as Rebbetzin Silber might know, or you might know, our children were actually offered an amazing position in a kollel in London. And we were all tortured about this. And I said, the Shekhinah does not leave Eretz Israel. And really, we should be coming to live with you in Hanoch, soon to be Ramat Bet Shemesh, that you shouldn't come here. And it was a very hard decision, but I said, Grandpa will be proud. That's it. Thank you. That's all. You can mute me now, please.
Well, I can testify that you definitely give your father nachas, and your children have, when you were here, and just the fact that they are here and learning, you know what that means to a person's neshama, that his grandchildren are learning. And we don't understand the preciousness of the few little mitzvahs that we do here and how they explode in importance and power. And we'll see that. But the fact is that 100% of your father's children are from, because that's you. and you have generations. So he should have an aliyas neshama. Whatever we learn should be shared with him. You should have an aliyas neshama. You should have continued nachas from you, and should daven by the kisei hakavod for your family, for all of your generations, for all of your kids, grandchildren, and future generations. And you should come back soon. It's the main thing, is we have to daven. We should all come back soon. The whole process should start already. That's what we're really, really waiting for. We need that process to start. We need Mashiach to come, the Beis HaMikdash to be built, and the Tchias HaMesim to begin. We need that desperately. So every shir we say from now on is that's tefillah. And really, Marcel is a very fundamental person in many of my shirim, not just this one. I don't want to tell on you, but Be'ezrat Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem. So good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see everybody's coming in slowly. Everyone knows that today is going to be the last year for the Znan. My next week, I'm going to be, I'm busy with family that's coming to visit. And so we'll have a 3-week break. And we'll get back to you, Be'ezrat Hashem, when we'll resume. We'll let you know exactly what date that will be. 3-4 weeks, we'll give you a little bit of a break. Don't think I won't be thinking about you. Thursday is my best. I adore you, ladies. So Thursday, Tehillim Shir. It's such an important part of my life. So I'm going to be thinking about you, but I'll be Be'ezrat Hashem busy with other things, Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay, we are going to complete Be'ezrat Hashem this Parakuf Mem Vav today. And we learned, and we're practicing that great teaching of thinking positively and finding the good in every person, finding the good in every situation, focusing on the good in ourselves. That's the song of our life, and attaching ourselves to that which is real as opposed to that which is fake. Because the majority of the world is actually attaching to fake. When people live their life meaninglessly or mindlessly, they're not paying attention, which is such a chaval for them. How can we help them? Each person that pays attention to her life is actually bringing that energy into the world of living in a conscious way, living in a focused way. So the more we, the best way to be part of anybody, the best way to bring anyone closer is that we ourselves should stay strong in that which we are. Okay. So we said last week that we are not going to rely on people. We're not going to lean on someone to the exclusion of God. We're going to lean on. So Marcel, you have to mute yourself now, sweetie, and anyone else is not muted, you have to mute yourself, only because of background noise. Okay, so now we talked about last week looking at the code for your name. We found, right? We talked about Tamar and Leah in the Sofei Tevos and the Rashi Tevos, looking at words and paying attention to see where you can find your name. You should know something. The Vilna Gaon, in the Sefer Kol HaTorah, his student recounts, somebody is not muted. His student tells us that the Vilna Gaon, Mrs. Morris, you have to mute yourself. The Vilna Gaon says that we have to pay attention to our name, and we have to actually do the gematrias of our names also. Again, like we just did the acronyms, the first letters of words, the second letters of words. Pay attention to your name. Find it. If you make a habit of learning and saying Tehillim, you will see your name. The letters will just pop up. Like last week, Rebbetzin Silber found her name right away. So yeah, you're going to do that. Now we're switching gears in this chapter of Tehillim, and now we're focusing. David Melch is going to focus us on Hashem, because we said Al Tiftachu B'Nezivim. Don't put your trust into people, even good people, because they're not omnipotent. They're not eternal. Only Hashem is. So Hashem is eternal. And what does Hashem do? So now we're up to Asem Mishpat Lashukim. Now we're going to see different descriptions of God and why we should trust Him and what God is busy doing in this world. Every one of these things is actually talking about twofold: how Hashem saves the Jewish people and how Hashem actually is trying to bring Mashiach in the way that will fulfill all of the different rules that Hashem Himself has set up. Because Hashem has set up rules where He wants every one of us to make it, and He wants every one of us to elevate. And so He wants us to actually receive the redemption using the Midas Hadin, which means He wants us to deserve it. And one of the reasons why we have so much suffering in this world is because suffering erases our mistakes and helps us to deserve closeness to God. I just have to 1 second, I have to adjust the fan. 1 second, we're having a little heat wave here, Baruch Hashem. 1 second. Okay, here it is. So is your heat wave over? I think you sent it over to us, yeah? Okay, so Hashem is Oseh Mishpat Shukim. Hashem does judgments and justice to all of those people who are actually being cheated. Meaning, first of all, the Jewish people, we have been taken advantage of for the entire Golos period. We've been taken advantage of by all the nations that we live in their, right, in their countries. Everyone here knows that every time Jewish people have to leave an area, their houses, which they can't sell, just they put so much into it, and then their houses go for nothing. My mother's house in Hungary, after they left, they had to sell it for peanuts. It was right before the war, and everyone knew what was happening. So Oseh Mishpat Shukim, Hashem is promising He's going to make justice for anyone who was cheated. Noten lechem l're'evim, and Hashem is going to bring bread. He's going to bring sustenance to all those people who were hungry. Hashem matir asurim, and Hashem is going to release the bonds of all those people who are stuck in situations that they can't seem to pull themselves out of. Now we're going to have a list of all the different things Hashem does, and you'll notice that many of them were incorporated into Birkas HaShachar, the morning blessings. Right? We say all of these in the morning blessings. Hashem does judgments. Hashem gives us food, sustains us. Hashem takes the bounds, the shackles off of the people who are bound up. Now, Rashi says that this is talking about the Shekhinah, the presence of God in this world, and the revealed presence of God in this world, that whenever we think about whatever is going on in our own life, if you know people who are hungry, if you know people who have been cheated or have been taken advantage of, if you know people who are stuck either really in jail or in a situation that's similar to jail, or in their life where they just can't make progress in their life, these words are releasing them, or trusting that Hashem releases them and helps them. Hashem lets us see. He opens the eyes of the blind. Hashem is okef kfufim. Hashem picks up those who are bent over. And Hashem mohev tzadikim, and Hashem loves the righteous. So again, the Mepharshim say, every one of this is talking about individual people, but most of all it's talking about the Jewish people. The Jewish people, sadly, in exile, we've a little bit been blinded by the confusion of exile. I told you that there's a statistic that says that there's 2 million Jews in the world that are affiliated, and like 12 million that are not. Should you imagine? For every Jew that's affiliated, there are 6 that don't know anything about it. And a lot of them live here in Eretz Yisrael. It's the wildest, it's the craziest, like, it doesn't make any sense. I was once by the Kotel, years and years ago, and there was a group of secular high school kids, Israelis, that were brought to the Kotel. And I got to talking with one of the girls, and she said, she was like 15, and she said she didn't know about the Kotel. She's living in, I don't know, Ranana, Tel Aviv, whatever. She didn't know about the Kotel. She doesn't know that, she didn't know that, religious people could be nice. She was raised in you would think that it's just 30 miles away from here. How could you not know about the Kotel? One of my friends lives in Beit El. Beit El is a really interesting place to live. And during one of the wars, it was Pesach time, and something happened, and I forgot exactly what happened. That we got somehow the Israeli. We ended up in a war over Pesach. Remember that? I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we were in a war over Pesach, and the Pesach and the army camps, some of them that were not really used, were not kosher for Pesach. They didn't have time before Pesach to kosher them because they were either unused or, in a place where there was nobody that was going to be there. And all of a sudden we had this war that sprung upon us, and all the boys had to come and go to their army camps. And it was the middle of Pesach, and there were army camps that had not been made kosher for Pesach. So in Beit El, which was right next to one of these army camps, my friend said that all the women in Beit El got together and they decided that they're going to cook for the army camp. There were, 100 guys there, and they made 3 meals a day for them every day. I don't know if they ended up koshering the kitchen. I don't think they did. Not just that, but in Beit El, the supermarket, and everything, Pesach, everything is closed here. The guy who owns the supermarket, he opened up the supermarket, and any kosher Pesach food that he had left over, he donated. And all the women in the whole town. So my friend said that when it was her day, she stood for about 5 hours frying schnitzel. That's what she did. It was a whole night. And she said she stood on her feet for 5 hours frying schnitzel. And the guy who was the delivery boy, so the soldier he came to pick it up because they want, how much, she didn't have an industrial kitchen. So she made 20 pieces every half hour or whatever. And he just came with a big platter, and whatever she made, he took and he brought it back to his guys to give them something to eat. Then he ran back and waited for her to make more schnitzel. This, she said, went on for 5 hours, back and forth, until she had nothing left to cook. She had given up all of her food. There was nothing left. Anyway, this kid who was the soldier who was the rendezvous guy, the guy who was back and forth, he was a completely secular kid. And he had never seen the inside of a kosher home of a Jewish, he was a Jewish kid. He didn't know it's Pesach. Could you imagine? That's how blind he was. And afterwards, when it was all over, and she flopped on a chair, cause she finished, anybody who knows how, you know how it is when you make the schnitzel. You have to bread it, you have to egg it, you have to bread it again, then you have to fry it, then you have to flip it, and it's a hot stove, and you have to oil it, and you have to put the paper towels, and it's endless, and it's exhausting, and you're on your feet, you can't sit down because everything happens quickly. So she wasn't really so much paying attention to this soldier, but he was observing her and her whole family. And afterwards, when it was over, when she said, okay, I'm done, and everybody had been fed, he said to her that his whole life he thought that religious people who kept the Torah were either mean or weird or archaic or manipulative. He had every adjective that he had thought. And he said he never realized that they're so generous and kind and loving. And she said to him, what did I do that, I didn't even talk to you. She said, yeah, but he said, I was watching you. I was watching the kids. She has one kid who's ADD, and he hadn't taken his meds, and he was a little bit flying all over the place. She was a little bit embarrassed, but she couldn't do anything better. She was with the schnitzel. Hashem is Tokeach even. There's people here who are blind. They don't know they don't know. Okay, so that's what Hashem is going to do. Now, every one of these things is the Shekhinah, the presence of God in this world. So the presence of God in this world has been corrupted, meaning it's ashuk. Ashuk means cheated. If you think about our parents, they were so careful not to cheat anybody. And since we're saying this in Marcel's father's, his Lila Neshama, so there are certain people who, they're just the epitome of integrity. But Hashem says that those who have been cheated, who have been taken advantage of, I will make it up to you, says Hashem. And you know what? If a judge or a policeman says that to you, or a lawyer, you can't believe them. But if Hashem says it to you, it means it's going to be justice. Hashem's going to give lechem to their agent. So again, on a deeper level, it means the Jews who are starving for Judaism. It says, what does it say? In the end of time, there's not going to be lo rab, lo lechem, lo sama l'mayim. People are not going to be hungry for food and thirsty for water. Even a generation ago, if you would have said that pasuk, they wouldn't have really gotten it, because a generation ago, they were hungry. I remember my father told me that when he was a kid, they were hungry. My mother said when she was a kid, they were hungry. There was such a thing as, now, how we're not hungry, Baruch Hashem, because we're rich. And even though the evil people of the world are trying to destroy all the food, You should know that we're in a time where the end of evil is trying to do anything and everything in its power to destroy the world. They're burning food, they're burning farmers, they're throwing away food. There's so much that they could do and they're not feeding people. But still Baruch Hashem, we still have food here. But and by the way, as you all know, there are kitchens here that provide food for free for anyone who wants food. There are soup kitchens here. Mayor Balinese has a kitchen. They're all over. They look like restaurants now. They used to look like soup kitchens. And there was a big sign, soup kitchen. And you went in and you were a little bit embarrassed. Now they look like a restaurant. You go and you pay 1 shekel. You have to pay something, they give you 1 shekel. I don't know how that is in tuppence or pounds or whatever your money is, but 1 shekel in America is like, right, what is it, 30 cents? So you pay a shekel and then you get it and you go, it's a restaurant. You go, it's like you take your tray and you go and you collect your food and you sit down like a bench, you eat. So it's not about necessarily, thank God Hashem, thank you Hashem, we're not physically starving, even though maybe there are chas v'shalom, but it's not like the major discussion of the world is to get a piece of bread. Rather, we're all starving for God closeness, God consciousness. So the ra'ev, the person who's starving, is the person like I just described to you, who was raised without Yiddishkeit. They were raised with everything but Yiddishkeit, with everything but godliness. Here we're trying so hard to put our kids, raise our children with Torah and mitzvahs and God consciousness and our history. And there are people who are raised without any of that. What do they talk about? What do they talk about? What's their life about? News and TV and sports, and it's nothing. They're so starving, and Hashem will feed them. And anybody who can be part of that, then you're an extension of God's hand. If you can give Torah to a person who doesn't have Torah, if you can give God awareness to a person who doesn't think about God, if you can teach a person a story from the Chumash, if you can share what Shabbos is, you're then being partners with God in the pasuk, Noten lechem l'ra'evim, because God is the one who supplies godly presence, and you're helping, and so you're a partner with Hashem. She just moved the screen to her, Sarah, that she could see. It's so cute. Yeah. Now, what else does Hashem do? Hashem is Matir Asurim. So it says that the Shekhinah, the presence of God, and the Mashiach is like in jail, where he's like bound up. He's not free. So it says in Sfarim that whenever we talk about Matir Asurim and Zokef Tzufim, we should think about the presence, the Shekhinah, whatever that means. The Shekhinah means Hashem's presence in this world. Sometimes the Shekhinah is depicted as a woman. It means Hashem in this world. So that presence of Hashem is being held tight. So Hashem is going to release that, relax that. Now, what about if you know somebody who's stuck, somebody who's in jail? If you know somebody who's in jail, in real jail, it's a big thing to visit them, to write letters to them. But what about somebody who's stuck in their own mental jail? They just can't break out of an idea that's so limiting, that's so harmful for them, that's so hurtful for them. There are people who are in jail. They're walking around totally free, physically, but their mind is enslaved. And it's a mitzvah to help them open their minds a little bit and relax the gates. So Hashem opens the gates for us and we can help for other people. Now people make a big mistake and they think that these words mean that Hashem will take that which is usher and make it mutter. That was the problem with false Mashiach. The Shabtai Tzvi, I think we say in Him Yimach Shemo maybe. And with Yashka, we say for sure in Him Yimach Shemo. That they said Hashem Matir Asurim means Hashem takes something that's asur, that's forbidden, and makes it mutar. That's not what it means. the things that are asur, that are forbidden, are not asur, they're not forbidden because Hashem is mean, but they're asur because the holiness, the potential release of holiness in these objects or situations is impossible to release. At this point in time, if you eat chas v'shalom something that's unkosher, if you eat something that's kosher with the proper blessing before and a proper blessing after, then you're actually releasing to the world the holiness that's in that fruit, whatever the fruit is. But if you eat something that's not kosher, then the holiness that exists, or the God particle that exists in that food, there is a God particle in everything that exists. But some of it is asur, means it's bound up, it's impossible to release it. And the halacha tells us what is usable and what is not usable. So don't think that when Mashiach comes, everything will be permissible. It's not true. We'll see that there was a reason for having those sparks of holiness, not being able to be released. And perhaps we'll be able to release them in a different way. Not by eating. Let's say rabbits. Rabbits are not kosher, but they have very sweet fur. And so you can make a collar out of rabbit fur. So of course, not by killing the rabbit, but if never the rabbit dies, then you could take the rabbit and take off its skin and use the fur for warmth. And then what you've done is you've taken something that is also to release the power of it with eating, but it's permissible to release the power of it by using it in another way. Shoshana Kaplan, you have to mute yourself, sweetie. It just makes background noise. Thank you. Sorry. Hashem Pokeach Ivrim, we said, Hashem opens the eyes of those people who are closing their eyes. And Iver means somebody who can't see naturally, or somebody who's actually forcibly closing their eyes. I told you the story. I once had a student, and she came over to me after class, and she said she wants to, this is how it happened. And she graduated high school. One of my students, when I lived in America, I taught in the Baal Shul High School in America. So I had a student who, she graduated, and then she went to seminary, and she came back one day to visit. And she asked me, could she take over my class? So that was fun. I said, sure. You want to do a shir for a few minutes? She said, yeah. She wants to practice being a teacher. It was the kind of school where you could do that kind of stuff. So she got up and she told the girls a story. She said, okay, Rebbetzin Silber, move to the back of the class. You listen like everybody, and I'll tell you a story. So here she tells a story about me that I never heard before. She said when she first came to the school, they told her that I'm like one of these Huji teachers who's going to make her religious. So she decided that she's never going to listen to one of my lessons. So what did she do? She never listened. But she was Israeli, so it was easy for her to translate from Hebrew to English. So she got good marks on the test, but she never listened to the hashkafa. She never listened to the Mefarshim, to the commentaries, to the ideas. No. And she said one day she let her guard down. She was tired. She put her head on the desk or whatever, and she happened to listen to a story about the Baal Shem Tov, whatever. I was telling the story, and like she said, "Whoa, that's interesting." And she said, "No, you're not supposed to listen. Don't listen." She had like that inner dialogue of, "Yes, it's interesting. No, don't listen. You're going to become religious." Yeah, but it's interesting. Maybe there's something to it. That's a person. So there's two ways to a person to be blind. If chas v'shalom they're born blind, meaning I'm talking about spiritually blind now. They're born in the middle of nowhere. They have no Jewish education. They don't know anything. They don't even know that they're Jewish sometimes. So why are you going to look up? Now we have the internet. A person who's Jewish could look up on the internet what does it mean to be Jewish, and they have to sift through all of the different. But a person could be born blind, or a person could close their eyes and make themselves blind. Hashem is going to open your eyes. He's going to do things that you're not going to be able to disregard. Hashem is okay for when you feel bent over, you feel defeated, when you feel like I'm trying so hard, and nothing is happening. That's called you're bent over. Hashem will pick you up. I just heard a story today. We all love the Rebbe Shlomo Yehuda Be'eri. We all love the Yehuda. So I heard a story recently. He didn't go to regular school. He had a very, very difficult childhood. His parents were poor. They had to leave Israel to go, and they lived in Spain. There was no school for him. He never learned on his own. He never learned. So he learned everything on his own. But he was Israeli, so he knew how to read Chumash. So he knew how to read, and he learned how to read the commentaries. But when it came to Gemara is Aramaic. He didn't understand the Gemara. So he used to cry to Hashem, please Hashem, I want to understand this. I have no idea what it means because it was a different language and he didn't have internet or a dictionary or any of that. So his student, who was telling over the story to his own students, said that he says, don't think that the Yanuka cried. He was bent over felt defeated, but he didn't stop crying to Hashem. Don't think he just cried one time. Please Hashem, help me. And if Hashem doesn't help, he says, okay, whatever, I davened and it didn't work. No, for 3 full years, he sat with an open Gemara by the window, looking out the window and saying, please Hashem, I want to understand this. For 3 years, he was bent over with. So when people feel defeated and, they feel like I'm trying so hard in life and this doesn't work and that doesn't work. And Hashem's okay for him to say these words. Hashem's going to pick you up. And don't think, well, it's so many years. Why do we know how many years we have to go through whatever it is that we need to go through? Hashem Ohev Tzadikim. And here, the David Melch is telling us that Hashem loves the Tzadikim. And we know from Pasuk in Yeshayahu, Va'amech Kulam Tzadikim. We say this every week in Pirkei Avos. It's the introduction to the Pirkei Avos. Amech Kulam Tzadikim. The Jewish people are all considered tzaddikim. What does that mean? Within the level of tzaddik, there's many different levels. But compare a Jew to what's going on in the world. Amech kulam tzaddikim. The Jewish people are tzaddikim, they're righteous. And the people who are not righteous, either it's because they're blind, because they were never taught, or they're bent over because they have problems, or they're been cheated and hurt, or they're starving, or they're bound. If the reason that a Jew isn't a tzaddik is because of circumstances, not because of the essence. The essence of every Jew is a tzaddik. The circumstances, like the Gemara says, every Jewish woman is beautiful, but poverty makes her look unbeautiful. But if you take a Jewish woman and you feed her and you put makeup on her and you wash her and every Jewish woman is beautiful. Only poverty makes us look unbeautiful. And poverty is also poverty of the soul. When you have a Jewish woman who doesn't know anything, and she dresses in a certain way because she just has no idea. And it doesn't look beautiful, but it's because she's poor. She's poor in her mind. And that's why her face is wrinkled and droopy and down, right? But a Jew who knows that we're besimcha, we're besimcha at all times. We have to be trusting Hashem, sympathy, and it relaxes us, and it erases the wrinkles. You wanna, an advertisement for beauty products for free, just emunah and simcha, and smiling until the smile catches to your eyes. Do you ever see people who smile for pictures? You're a photographer, in addition to all of your things, a little bit, yeah? So Shoshana B'liach is sending me gorgeous pictures every day. I don't know if she's on, I can't see. Anyway, a photographer knows that when you take a picture of somebody, you can see, and you say smile. They smile. But there's a smile of the lips, and there's a smile that goes to the eyes, that crinkles up the eyes. We have to smile to crinkle up the eyes. Now, the truth is that biologically or physiologically, when you just upturn your lips, it does that whole thing in the brain. It triggers, the happy enzyme, whatever it's called. I forgot already. Well, the endorphins that make you happy just by lifting up your lips. And so just walking around smiling, it's going to make you in a good mood, and it's going to take away the wrinkles. And if you have wrinkles by the eyes, that's okay. Wrinkles by the eyes is a good thing. Means you know how to see properly. Rabbi Nachman says that wrinkles by the eyes means that you're smart because you're always like scrutinizing things. You're looking, you're searching, you're using the eyes properly. Everybody who has a problem with the eyes should have a fush lema. Amen, amen, amen. So we're all tzaddikim. We don't think we are, but we are. Hashem Shomer is Gerim. Now, the Jewish people are also called Gerim. What's a Gerim? We think it means a convert. And on the simple level of Pshat, Hashem loves converts and he has to watch over them because they don't have family to stick up for them. They don't have like a security system or a support system because they're converts. So a convert is rejected. Their family who they left isn't one of them. And the people who they join, the Jewish people, are not so totally comfortable with them. They're alone. So Hashem watches over them. That's a pshat. But Mefarshim say that the Jewish people are gay because we're strangers in strange lands. We're not in our own. People here and over there in the UK. We're Baruch Hashem here. But sometimes they make us feel here like we're also strangers. So Hashem watches over the Jewish people as long as we're in Golus. Until Mashiach comes, we're all considered Gerim, meaning we don't have a makom yet. We don't have a feeling of settled, totally settled. Ezrat Hashem, you should all come here to Eretz Yisrael and settle. And those of us who are already here should settle deeper. Hashem encourages and supports the orphans and the widows. So of course it's pshat. The pshat is an orphan doesn't have a father to take care of them, and a widow doesn't have a husband to take care of her. So they feel vulnerable, they feel weak. So Hashem says, you don't have anybody, I'm there for you. But who is the yatom? Who are the orphans? We, the Jewish people, feel that we're orphaned because we feel like Hashem, sometimes we're like, where are you? Certainly in the Holocaust, people felt so like, where are you, Hashem? And we were married, so to speak. We were loving each other, and now we feel like an almana, like you abandoned us. So Hashem says, no, I'm there for you. There's a process that's going on here, says Hashem. Yerushalayim and Sion is called an almana, but not really an almana because Hashem never really left us. But it's how we feel like. An almanach chaya is called, like a person who feels abandoned. When is Hashem going to do all these things? When is Hashem going to heal us and comfort us and support us and feed us and inspire us and release us? When is that? At the end. When Hashem finally gets rid of all the evil. When Hashem gets rid of all the evil people, when Hashem takes their evilness, and it's so cute, Sarah, you can, the daughter's playing with the thing. Hashem takes all the evil away, that's when all of these things are going to happen. Now, everybody now on planet Earth, perhaps, is suspicious of, or should be suspicious of, that was very cute when you did Little Goldstein Daughters. Should be suspicious of all of the powers that be that are, it's okay, it's funny that she's doing it. All the powers that be that are doing all kinds of things with the economy, with the recession, with the money, with the food. We should be very suspicious of that, and non-Jewish people should also be suspicious. And the Prophet say that the whole entire world will be joyous, will be rejoicing when Hashem does justice to the wicked people. As we said many, many times, probably most people on planet Earth are good. They're not power hungry. They're not manipulative. They're not bad. But they're just victims of circumstances. Either they're victims of poverty, they're victims of difficulty. So, but who's making a continuity here of all of that? The people who are making continuous poverty in the world, whether it's poverty of the mind, poverty of the spirit, or poverty of the body, those people will be judged, and their derech, their way of evil, will finally be exposed, and they will be fixed. So they will be straightened out. The derech Hashem yaveh means they will be straightened out. Now, because we don't want to punish anybody, we just want everyone to do tshuva. Could you imagine if the wicked people of the world finally admits what they do wrong and they do tshuva? What powerful people they will be. They think that they're sort of like hacking into the system, into God's system, by manipulating and by cheating and by stealing and by lying and all of that, and by doing bad crimes. They think that they can get away with it because they have been getting away with it. Once Hashem opens that up, that's it. They're going to have to straighten out their ways or no more. Finally, the last pasuk you know by heart, Yimloch Hashem Leolam. Hashem will be the king forever. Elokayach Tzion, your God, Tzion. Now, who's Tzion? Tzion is Eretz Yisrael and Yerushalayim. That's Tzion. When Tzion is brought in the same pasuk, when Tzion is alone, it means Yerushalayim. When it's brought in the same pasuk as Yerushalayim, then Tzion means the Har HaBayit. So Hashem's going to be king in the end, and which Hashem, so to speak? Hashem Elokayach Tzion, the Elokim, the God of Tzion, the Zor Vadar Haluka, forever and ever Haluka. Chazal tell us that one of the first messages that Mashiach is going to say, he's going to say many psukim, but one of the first public messages that Mashiach is going to say is this pasuk: let God rule forever, the God of the Jews, forever and ever, and now let us all praise God. That's going to be on the internet. It's going to be broadcast in every single place there's screens. Mashiach Tzidkenu, one of the first statements that he's going to make is this pasuk, and that's why we say it in Kedusha, in the Chazarat Hashatz, we say it 3 times a day, and we say it, well, if you go to shul, you say it twice a day, because Ma'ariv they don't say Kedusha, and on Shabbos you say it more, right? But it's the 3 psukim that are in every Kedusha. The first pasuk is, the first 2 psukim are what the angels say, and the third pasuk is what we respond, what we say to the angels. The angels say, Kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzvakot, and Baruch Kavod Hashem in Kamo. They say those psukim. And how do the Jewish people respond? Yimloch Hashem Le'olam. And that's going to be Mashiach's pasuk. So ladies, let's talk a little bit about, now we finish the parak, and next time we meet, we'll continue with the next parak in the davening. We're going to finish the program now. We're going to go, after our break, we're going to continue with the next parak, 147. But let's talk a little bit about...
Rebbetzin Silber, just before we finish, I think that actually it was Carmen, if she's here with us, I don't know. Yeah, there she is. But she said, and I did look in my Tehillim, that I don't know if we completed learning Perek 33. Is that right, Carmen? Was it 33? I don't know if we completed learning Perek 33. So either we both missed it, we can't find a recording, and
okay, so we're going to
Study 3.
so I just wanted to, yeah. I think I've got that we learned up to Yud Gimel. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back.
Okay.
So you'll remind me.
Yeah.
Remind me.
Yeah.
Ranus Tzadikim, we love that there. Talking about the Tzadikim. But I wanted to talk about Mashiach a little bit, because we have a few more minutes. Let's talk about Mashiach. So, first of all, I want to recommend Rabbi Kessin. Rabbi Mendel Kessin make very good shiur now on Mashiach. He made a shiur last night. I didn't listen to it yet, but I saw the title. Rabbi Mendel Kessin. You can find it on his website, TorahThinking.org. He gives a very big overview of world history. And it's very, very mechazek, it's very strengthening. So in the 3 weeks, everybody here we all need to be encouraged and strengthened. So we want to listen to the shir. I want to recommend that to you. I also want to recommend to you that you read a beautiful article on the Arachim website. Arachim, A-R-A-C-H-I-M, Arachim, has it in English. They have a beautiful article called, Where are the Vessels of the Beis HaMikdash? So read it, it'll make you happy. The final story in there, I heard it differently about the Chafetz Chaim and the Kalim here in the Beis HaMikdash. I heard it differently, so I have to contact the author of that article to see why he wrote it the way he wrote it. But just the Lubavitch Rebbe used to say that in the 3 weeks and the 9 days, we should learn a lot about the Beis HaMikdash. We should learn about the Beis HaMikdash, the halachas, the laws, and even what it looked like looking at the movies of the Beis HaMikdash. Instead of only focusing on the miserableness that we've gone through in these 3 weeks, we've gone through misery in the 3 weeks and 9 days. Let's try to focus on positive. Let's focus on anything that you can get your hands on about the Beis HaMikdash, and let's talk a little bit about Mashiach and what he's going to do when he comes. So we just learned, the last pasuk that we learned is going to be one of the first statements that Mashiach is going to make, because Mashiach is not going to focus on himself. He's going to be called Melech HaMashiach. They're going to call him Melech. They'll call him Your Majesty. We'll call him that. The whole world will. But he's going to keep deflecting it and putting in saying Hashem is the Melech. Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimlach L'Lav. It's called TorahThinking.org. One word, Torah Thinking. Or go on Torah anytime. I hope this is not in competition with all the different places that we're in right now. But I know that seed is all the Shem Shemayim. They just want you to be holy and educated. So they're not going to mind if I tell you this is also something called Torah anytime.com. Yeah. And so Mashiach is going to remind us that Hashem is the Melech. So how can you get into a Mashiach mindset right now? You're very welcome. Everybody who's sending me the thank yous, you're very, very welcome. How can we get into a Mashiach mindset? Just the first step is Hashem is the Melech. All day long, saying Hashem Melech. Hashem is the Melech. You could say Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimlach L'Olam, but that's a pasuk, and you could say it with Hashem's name. But just say Hashem is the Melech. What do you want me to do, Your Majesty? Talk to Hashem in those words. Use the words that are familiar to you. You have a majesty over there that you talk about. No. Let's talk about you. Whatever words are inspiring to you, right? Hashem, Your Majesty. You heard it? Did you put that crown on yourself? There's a crown on you. I don't know. Somebody's playing with all the stuff. They're making all kinds of funny things on the Before it was Sarah's daughters who were doing it. I don't know. It's okay. When you're bored, you can do all kinds of things in the shir, make all kinds of things. But yeah, she's right. The crown. Hashem is the Melech. Hashem, what would you like me to do now? What can I do for Your Majesty? What does Your Majesty command me to do? Thank you, Your Majesty. Thank you for this grape. Thank you for this piece of bread. Thank you for... Make Hashem the Melech. Use the word Hashem, You're the Melech, because that's what Mashiach is going to keep reminding us. Hashem is the Melech. Hashem is the Melech. Smile to him. Throw him kisses. I know it sounds so trite, but make Hashem more real in your life. I know we daven to him. The Anuka says this. He says, we always cry and complain to him. We cry to him, we beg, we daven to him, we ask him. There's a slight, and we have to do that. But don't just make your associations with God in, I need you, Hashem, because this is wrong with my life, and that's wrong with my life. Don't make this, it's sort of like making a negative association with God. In other words, you're associating him with when you need him, you talk to him. And when you need him, you beg him and you cry to him and you whatever. And it's true that we do thank him also, but still try to involve God in your life in a happy way. Amen, amen. Thank you. Try to be positive when it's your relationship with Hashem. Try to say thank you before you say please. Try to say thank you before we say please. Right? When I mean, like, one of the children is doing something, and so first, before you say, Hashem, listen, so-and-so is doing something, is going through such and such, before you say that, say thank you, Hashem, for this child that I'm about to daven for. And thank you that he or she is so good and sweet, and they're trying their best, and whatever you can, to make it a positive association. The Baal Shem Tov says something outrageous. All you lit fox are going to be annoyed with what I'm about to say, but I'll say it anyway. Mishenichnas av, right? It says, Mishenichnas av ma'asim v'simcha, Mishenichnas adar marvin v'simcha, Mishenichnas av ma'asim v'simcha, which means when the month of Adar comes in, we increase joy. And when the month of Av comes in, we diminish joy. That's the simple pshat. And how do we diminish joy in the month of Av? But you don't have weddings, all that kind of stuff. And Joanne, mute yourself. Mute yourself. It's on. So only because I don't want you to give away all your secrets. You say secrets over there. People forget that they're unmuted and then they, So the Baal Shem HaKadosh says this: Mishenichnas Av, when Av comes in, which is tonight, Mima'atin, we lessen the negativity of Av by how? B'simcha. By being b'simcha. It's the exact opposite. Mishenichnas Av Mima'atin, b'simcha. When Av comes in, we lessen, we diminish the negativity of Av by being b'simcha. And what does b'simcha mean? B'simcha means be'emunah, with having emunah, with strengthening our emunah. We're working very hard on emunah. Everybody is, I think, the way it works is that we have emunah in 99% of our life, and that one place that we don't have emunah, whether it's in money areas, whether it's with the kids, whatever it is, we're pretty good in emunah. We trust Hashem, we believe in Him, we believe in Him for sure, we trust Him. But then there's that one spot that we're just doing too much hishtadlus, or we're too afraid to totally let go and let God. So in the 9 days, we'll try to increase our emunah. It's true that the energy gets heavy. It's true. And here in Eretz Yisrael, every year I've been noticing that the energy, it used to be that the energy was much worse, was much heavier. And I'm noticing that every year, the 9 days energy, the intensity of negativity is less. That's my personal observation. I don't know if you can't measure that because there's no intensity measure, but that's just my sense. And Hashem it's true that we're still in major exile, but we're closer to the end than we are to the beginning. So, and also, as you all know, we're all going to be very careful with Shmiras HaLashon this week. We're going to be very, very careful because Rosh Chodesh starts tonight. Thursday night and Friday is Rosh Chodesh. Shabbos is already the second day of Av. Sunday is the third day of Av. Monday is the Yartzeit Mary HaKadosh. Tuesday the Yartzeit Mary HaKadosh, the 6th of Av. But and that Tisha B'Av comes out Shabbos, which means we're going to eat meat, even if you don't normally eat meat. I'm not such a big meat eater, but I don't know if this is Shabbos Tisha B'Av. Be'ezrat Hashem, I'll find a piece of meat someplace and drink wine. We're all going to drink wine. We're going to have kiddush. This week, this year, the Sephardim don't have the intensity of the 9 days because they only start the intensity of the 9 days in the Shavua Shechalbo, Tisha B'Av, in the week that Tisha B'Av is in. So if Tisha B'Av, let's say, is on a Tuesday, then the Sephardim will start the 9 days on Sunday, once the Shabbos Sunday, not from Av, not from the first day of the month, but the week that Tisha B'Av falls in, they will keep only that week the thing about meat and wine and all of that. But this year, since Tisha B'Av is a Shabbos, there is no such thing as the week of Tisha B'Av. And we'll commemorate Tisha B'Av on Sunday, but there's no week of Tisha B'Av, because as soon as the week of Tisha B'Av begins, it's already Tisha B'Av. So it's a lighter form of this year. And we're in Shemitah. You have to come to Eretz Yisrael to taste the Shemitah fruits. We still have them. We can only eat them in Eretz Yisrael. Anyway, thank you, Rebbetzin Dov. Thank you, Rebbetzin Sippy. Thank you, Rebbetzin Anita, for making all these things work. And for all the ladies, thank you so much. I'm going to miss you. We'll see you, Bezrat Hashem. Hi, Karen. Hi, Carmen. Thank you, Carmen, for telling us. Hi, Yehudit. Hi, iPad 5. I forgot who that is. Hi, Shoshana Kaplan. And hi, Marcel. Again, your father should have Elias Neshama. All the mitzvahs that you do, and the fact that I'm so happy to have you in my house here to hang out with you a little bit. You come there. So hi, Pauline. Hi, Devar Zenzner. Don't leave. And hi, Karen. And hi, Lily. And hi, Emma. And hi, Rosalind. Oh, I see Rosalind put her face on. Hi, Rosalind. It's good to see you. Oh, there's Naomi. Hi, Naomi. I see you. And hi, Mrs. Morris. Thank you, Shalom, so much. Thank you, Shalom. Thank you, Jen, for coming. And Shoshana Biliak, thank you for all the pictures that you send. They're really cute and pretty. All the flowers. Are those flowers that you're taking in your area, or are you just taking pictures off and sending them? Because if those are flowers that are in your area, well, they're gorgeous. Hi, Esther Bellio. No, Bellilo. Hi, Esther. And thank you, everybody, for coming. Be'ezrat Hashem. Please stay in touch. Rebbetzin Silber, next week, actually, I'm not teaching. Maybe one class, maybe two classes. If you want shiurim, bombard her. She has my shiurim that she gets in the other classes, and she'll send them to you on the link.
Thank you.
Good Chodesh, good Shabbos. Thank you for everything.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Thank you. Good Chodesh.